Spelzy. Hello, your tops. Bats coming right at you with a W preview. There's been a lot of talk about both Donger and Xerath, and I thought I'd do a little preview of both of them in this little video. So this is how they look currently on the PBE, and remember, as always, it's subject of change since it's not live yet. But let's take a look at those abilities. In 3, in 2, let's just do it, man. It's stupid. Let's start off by taking a look at Xerath and its passive. It's called Overwhelming Power, and it passively grants him a percentage spell penetration. And every 10 seconds, Xerath's next basic attack will restore mana. If you use this auto attack on an enemy champion instead of a minion, you'll get even more mana restored. His Q, Arcana Pulse, is now a beam of energy that you charge up, and the longer you charge it, the longer it'll reach. It doesn't affect the damage, but only the range. And the important thing I noticed straight away is that you can also move while charging it, which takes away sort of that static feel that Xerath had before, while still giving him the sort of cool range that you could pull off. The W has gone through a massive change. It's now called Cosmic Strike, and it's an AoE magic damaging ability that also slows the target. Depending on how close to the center of the blast the target is, they'll take more damage and have an increased slow effect. And then there's the E, Stasis Orb, which now is a very straightforward skill shot ability that stuns the target. The projectile is kinda slow and on a short range, but the hitbox seems to be pretty big, so kinda easy to land. And then there's the ultimate, which is called Ascension, but I mean, look at it. What is that? This ability is sort of like a bit of Xerath old W. You become rooted in place, and you can't use any other abilities, but your left and right mouse click will allow you to shoot 4 missiles on a super long range, man. It also reveals a huge area around Xerath, so it's easy to snipe. And when you come out of the rooted form, you get sort of a movement speed boost like with the W. Let's move on to the Dongmeister, the Dongerpoo, the Donkonovich. The passive, I think, is the same as before. I haven't really played much Donger. Allied champions and turrets, and Heimer himself gets increased health regeneration when close to him. The Q, Heimerdinger's turrets, are now quite different. They have a special ability, the beam, that they can use every 12 seconds. They sort of prioritize the targets that Heimerdinger attacks, and if Heimerdinger leaves their area, they shut down. So the usefulness of the turrets are a little more in action type now, because you need to be close to them obviously, and when you place them down, they use their beam straight away, which deals magic damage to all enemies in a line. The W, the rockets, has sort of become a way more skill type casting ability, if you will. It now fires off 5 rockets in a fan, depending on how sort of you hold the cursor towards Heimerdinger. So you can either choose to spread out your rockets, or you can focus them down to like a pinpoint location. The E is kind of close to what it was before, except it now looks way more crisp, and it doesn't just like hover forward in the air, it sort of like gets tossed, and it looks pretty neat. But it's still magic damage, a slow, and potentially a stun, depending on how you hit the enemy champions. And now the biggest change, upgrade, it's sort of like become one of those increase the damage and potential of the other spells while using this before casting Q, W, or E. Basically, if you press R, the next spell you use will have no mana cost. If you cast your Q, it'll summon a bigger turret with more damage, and which attacks also slows the enemy target. If you cast your W, you will fire 4 waves of rockets. There is a slight reduction to a target that eats multiple rounds of this wave of death, but it still turns into quite a significant nuke. And if you cast your E, the grenade will become bigger in radius, the slow will be increased, and it will also bounce around, kind of like a Sig's bomb. Those are the changes we're looking at in terms of these 2 champions, and I can honestly say that I don't really know where they will end up because of them. But I think it's good to see that the older champions are getting a look-see-loo, so we can play them once again like we did back in the good old day. If you did enjoy this little champion preview, feel free to hit the like button. You can add it to your favorites and share it on Facebook and Twitter. And also, if this is the first video of me you're watching, go and check out my other ones. I've got tons of League of Legends content on my channel. You should also subscribe so you don't miss anything coming out in the future. And that is it. I wish you guys a superb day. And this has been Spazzy, and I am out. Dudes!